All right.
Hey, Sean.
Hey,
Success.
is it going?
It's going, buddy.
That's crazy. Oh yeah,
how's,
there it goes.
how's it going, Sean?
Success. Is it going?
We're live.
We suck at this.
uh,
We're getting the bugs worked out before the season starts.
just like the Broncos.
Yeah. Who's it gonna be? Eric? Me? No one knows.
How's it going, Sean?
It's good, man. How you been?
Tired.
Tired. Yeah, I hear you, man. My sister-in-law actually got married this weekend.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, congratulations to Max and Jessica. I don't know if you guys listen or not, but if you do, congratulations. If you don't, you're bad family members. Yeah, no, it was really fun. Really exciting. We had a lot going on. Pretty exhausted from it. But yeah, back into normal life. So I'm excited. How about you, man? Just tired?
Good. Yeah, got too many house projects going on at once. I had a fence that fell down, so I'm doing manual labor. I'm not good at manual labor. Yeah. I wasn't made for manual labor. But I don't know if any of my friends were, so.
Yeah, I don't. There's a few of them out there, but not very many. So yeah, man, things are good. We're back. It's been a little bit. It's been a minute, like always.
I gotta say though, Sean, we've been consistent.
We have been consistently not on time with things,
and far and few in between.
Yeah, for sure. No, but it's the off season. There hasn't been a ton in the interim to talk about, really. Some news, I guess. We'll get down to Crush Report news first. Me and Eric had a big meeting about all the exciting stuff we want to do next season. Really looking forward to it. There's going to be a lot of really cool stuff that we're going to do. But a big thing that happened was sometime last week we broke 10,000 downloads.
Huge.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah, let's clap for ourselves.
There we go. Yeah,
clap for ourselves.
Gotta clap for something.
Yeah, man, it's pretty exciting.
We don't know what happened.
We don't know what happened. Yeah, we had a big spike over the last, I'd say, month and a half, maybe. Yeah. So we just want to say thank you to all the people who are listening. Apparently, we've got a lot of new listeners in the last month and a half, and we really appreciate it. We promised during the season we're a lot more consistent, but in the off season, it kind of gets pretty sparse, and then it'll start picking up here probably from now on. Lots of big stuff happening with the Broncos. So,
what I will say in that meeting that Sean and I had, one thing that we talked about was, and as you guys have already kind of seen, I wrote a blog post. I put up one of our extra points. Our extra points are quick little videos, just to kind of spill our guts on something that maybe happened throughout the week, or maybe something important popped into our brains, which isn't usually often. And then the blog, I think, is a little bit more for analysis. We're gonna leave the comments open on that, so if you'd like to comment, you can. We'll be tweeting it out. So Twitter is pretty much our main go-to, even though we have a website, even though we're trying to be on YouTube now. But Twitter will always be, I think, our go-to. So yeah, even though we haven't been super consistent with the off season, I don't really care, because we're gearing up for the regular season, and we're pretty excited. Sean and I talked about, I think we're going to do a tailgating game where we'll live feed a tailgate game. What else, Sean? What else are we doing?
Maybe from training camp.
Right.
We're going to try to go to a preseason game, possibly. Like Eric said, we want to do a tailgate thing. And then also we were thinking about maybe doing watching a game from one of our local bars or breweries. And both of those, the tailgate thing and the bars and breweries thing, if you live in the Denver area or want to make a trip out, we would definitely love to meet you. And those will definitely be opportunities for all of us to get together, hopefully, is kind of the plan. But we'll have more details on that stuff as it kind of comes along. So,
Sean, do you think we can get stickers for people who come out for that?
Yeah, absolutely. Unless more than 100 people come out, then no. But yeah, for sure. If you come out and hang out with us, we'll definitely give you guys some stickers, and we would just love to meet you. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this, is that we're not professional broadcasters by any means. We don't do this for a living. We both have regular day jobs. We're just huge Bronco fans, and we know that's what you guys are, and that's who we like to talk to and hang out with. So that's what it's all about, is developing this community to support the Broncos and talk about the Broncos and just share a passion that we all have. So that's what we're looking forward to do, man. We're just looking forward to getting to know you guys better. So,
I feel like I'm in church right now. I'm like, preach, Sean, preach.
Preach the gospel of the Broncos.
No, but I'll second that. We're not paid to do this. It would be cool if we got paid, but
in fact, we pay a lot of money to actually do it.
Don't tell our wives.
Yeah.
No, like, we want to stay. We're fans. The people that we want to listen to our podcast are fans. We're not Joes who are from Cleveland who are talking about the Broncos. We're Denverites.
Not that if you like the Broncos and you're from Cleveland, that's a bad thing. It's just
right. These guys are doing it because they want a paycheck for it. So
right, yeah. We both grew up in Colorado. Both grew up right around Denver. Have been Broncos fans since we were little kids. Grew up in Broncos households. It's just part of what we know as life. So, that's why we do it. We're excited, and we're glad that you guys are all excited too, and our fans as well. So,
well, enough patting ourselves on the back.
Yeah.
Okay, Sean. This is a weird time of the year,
right?
And minicamp is over. There's been a ton of analysis, and we'll get to the showdown between me and Sean about quarterbacks. But at the end of minicamp, it means it's the summer break for the Broncos, which means some crazy shit can happen, like guys shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, allegedly.
Some ninja came in and shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, this tends to be kind of the little gap where players get in trouble, go and do a bunch of Molly in Vegas and disappear for a while, or shoot themselves in the leg, or get in domestic disputes. Right. Whatever it is, it's never good. I think they're all excited. They're all getting pumped up for the season. Those first checks are rolling in, and they're off for a couple weeks. Rookies don't even have to go back to practice until I think the 23rd of July.
Yeah, it's that's not the beginning of training camp, but it's not that far off.
Right. It's just when rookies have to report to start getting all their stuff in order in a row. And, they have to show up before everybody else, basically.
Yeah. And just all the stuff that's transpired over the last couple of weeks is just countless signings and just different things that have happened. Like Chad Kelly apparently is ready to throw the football. I don't see him throwing it very much, but he'll be throwing the football. We've signed a bunch of guys. Dontrell Nelson. Just a ton of different stuff. Questions, analysis. Sean, over the last week or so, what's the thing that's, besides the quarterback controversy, what's one thing that you've heard people talk about?
Man, that's kind of been the only thing people have been talking about, honestly. I mean, not a whole lot, dude, to be honest. I mean,
I would totally agree. That's the only thing people care about.
Yeah,
that's the only thing people should care about right now.
I mean, yeah, there's been a little stuff. I guess, I mean, like the Von Miller got voted number 2 overall.
Ah, damn it, Sean.
Oh, sorry.
That was my crush in the number.
I mean, you could go more into depth. I'm just saying that was something that was brought up.
I would agree. Yes, absolutely. That's probably a huge thing.
Only after Darth Vader himself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Number
Tom
one.
Brady, of course, was number one. But that's pretty impressive. I mean, to still be number two. That's
right.
And that's voted on by your peers. So
quit talking about it. I want to talk about it later.
Crushing the numbers.
Son of a bitch.
I'm just kidding.
You always do this to me.
I'm sorry.
I will say we signed a guy from Cincinnati. His name is Chris Harris. Wait, his name is Chris Lewis Harris.
Chris Lewis. Do we have to call him Chris Lewis Harris the fucking rest of the season? That's gonna get so fast.
I love it. I think that we should and CLH.
CLH. Now he sounds like a cleaning product.
And now, what's crazy is he's a cornerback.
Yeah.
And he's not that far off from Chris Harris' size.
Yeah, he's almost the exact same size.
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. You'd think they'd be like, I don't know if we should do this. It's bad juju.
I have two guys with the same name.
Yeah. I wonder if he gets to the locker room and he's like, I'm Chris Harris 1, you're Chris Harris 2.
No, I'm Chris Harris 1, you're Chris Harris 2.
Yeah.
Just back and forth. Yeah, there's lots of signings. Let's talk about injuries real quick. Adam Gotsis had his knee drained. And I've actually had this done before. Not with my knee. And not with what you think it is, Sean. I had my ankle drained once.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember that.
And it was nuts, to say the least.
Sure.
And they said he should be back in plenty of time for training camp. It's usually not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal to have his, the need to have his knee drained. But regardless, the injury itself is not damaging enough that he's not going to be there during the season. Another injury is AJ Derby. His hamstring is aggravated. He's a little guy. He'll be fine. And then Kyle Pecco. He is one that I'm actually kind of concerned with, only because he is a guy who, as a big guy, he's going to be on his feet a lot, and I hope that it's nothing serious, and I hope it's a quick injury. Maybe he's got a blister on his foot. I don't know. The press release was really vague. It just said a foot injury. So, as a defensive lineman, I don't want any problems with him. Sean, that leads me into my crushing the numbers.
All right.
Crushing the numbers. Yes, Von Miller was voted number 2 by his peers, which means it's not just the Broncos that vote, obviously. It's the whole league that votes. That means of all the guys in the NFL, 53 times 32, which is a lot of numbers, everyone has decided that he is the most important or second most important player in the league, most important defensive player in the league. With that said, Sean, and I want you to think back through the annals of history of football, and there's discussion that I've seen online about, could Von Miller possibly be the greatest defensive player of all time?
Whew.
I know them's some big balls that I'm pitching and laying on the table there, but
right.
If not greatest defensive player of all time, you can reduce it down to greatest, linebacker kind of position kind of guy. Like specifically, I'm thinking of like Lawrence Taylor. Like,
right.
If you're comparing Von Miller to another player in the history of the NFL, I think of Lawrence Taylor. There's a few other guys I could think of that were just outstanding defensive players. Mike Singletary. God, the list is enormous. I'll let you give me your thoughts. Could he be the greatest of all time?
It's kind of a loaded question. You're looking at a guy who still has a career ahead of him, and so who knows what his final numbers are going to be. He's put some huge numbers on the board already. He's definitely, I would say, been through a pretty rocky transition from the Peyton Manning era. He definitely has kind of been that rock that's kind of led the team. Yeah, man, that's tough. That's a really tough one. Who's to say? I mean, he could, God willing, knock on wood, could get hurt and then never play again, or he could go on to play, 5 more years, and who knows what kind of numbers he's going to hit career wise. So, yeah, it's impossible to say right now. I think potentially though he could be.
When I also think about the idea that he's a guy who came from he came out of college, nothing too much on his back in terms of backstory. But then you have the marijuana issue with him. And him coming back from that, I think was, we're talking at the very beginning of Manning's career here in Denver. Right. I have no doubt that Manning had an impact on Von Miller. And to see that play out in Denver is spectacular, more than anything because you're seeing greatness pour into greatness. Does that make sense?
Right.
And like I'm looking at I was looking at greatest defensive tackle lists, and you got guys like Alan Page, Mean Joe Green, Randy White, Merlin Olsen, and linebackers. Gosh, man. Knowing how last year was, mediocre season for the Broncos. Is it possible for our defense to rebound and be the greatest defense again for the second time? Maybe not this year, but maybe we build back up to it.
Right.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, potentially, I think there is always an opportunity for that to happen, and definitely we have a lot of players back that have contributed to where we were before. We have some new players that I think are going to be crucial to that. How they turn out, we don't really know yet. Man, I kind of wonder, do you feel like Wade Phillips being gone, how much do you think that really affects the potential, I don't know, the potential winningness, I guess, or
right? I don't know, man. Like I think about the gosh, that seems so long ago. Like him, son of Bum leaving Denver.
Right.
I don't know. Like I think about where we were in 2015. And then last year was such a disaster. Okay, so this kind of leads me into the next point on our list, Sean, which is a little scary. Because it's the quarterback competition.
Right.
And so I think, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think that whoever is at the helm at the beginning of the season for the Broncos needs to be there the entire year. And I think that will give the defense a reason to share the burden that they need to. If the offense is jacking around and they're like, oh, let's put in Simeon right now, let's put in Lynch right now. If they keep on doing this trade-off with the expectation after the first 4 games or 5 games that we're 4-1 or 3-1, I don't think the defense is going to buy into it all. I think the offense somewhat dictates how the defense is.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Yeah, for sure. I mean, potentially you're looking at like obviously the better the defense does their job, the more time we have with the ball on offense, and vice versa. We saw a lot of times last season where I felt, we would get the ball and turn it right back over, where our defense didn't have any time to rest, and by the end of the game, they were just wore out. I mean, our defense plays 100% all the time, but when your offense is continually, dropping the ball or overturns or whatever, like it's just, you're getting it wore out. And so I think potentially if our offense hopefully is better this year, God willing, we've shored up the offensive line situation. We're actually able to run more than 3 plays and we're out. I don't know. I think potentially, yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think when we were doing our best is when I think it reflects our defense overall. When Peyton Manning he was running the huddle, we always had a ton more time on offense where it allowed our defense to always pretty much be fresh continually.
Right.
And produce the numbers that they produced when they potentially were one of the best defenses of all time.
All right, Sean. So I'm going to skip ahead. Our buddy Gunnar Kane, Gun 1989, he asked this question. Okay, go ahead.
One thing.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Before we get to the QB thing, a little less controversial question. Jamal Charles, does he make this team?
Oh, okay. I think he could slide in.
Yeah.
Only because I think that we need a veteran guy.
That's what she said.
She needed a veteran guy.
Yeah. That whole last sentence you said.
And that's the only reason why.
So you think he's purely kept around as like morale boost?
Right. Well, and I also think because there's no leader on the defense yet. Or sorry, on the offense yet.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I mean, you can say Emmanuel Sanders is, but I don't think that he wants to be.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it's tough, dude. To say that a guy... What's that?
Do you not think he'll be on the team?
I don't think so. I think there's a reason that Colorado was the only place that he could go. I think there's potential that he could do something. Like, I don't think he's completely washed up. But I think there's just too much just riding on him, to be honest. I think we already have this committee of running backs that I think have a stronger sway with our offense than him. I mean, wouldn't you think, like C.J. Anderson, Devontae Booker, like I think these guys have put the time in to where, like, especially C.J. Anderson, I don't know. Am I crazy in thinking that don't you think he has more sway over the offense?
I would agree. I would agree with that. But I would say also that expecting, I just don't think C.J. Anderson is the. I don't think he's that guy, man.
Right.
And as well as I think he's looking to get paid, and for him to get paid, it's going to have to be somewhere else.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I would also say that the running backs that we've signed over the course of the offseason they're pretty impressive.
Right.
So I don't know. Like D'Angelo Henderson may be the guy. I don't know.
Guys,
right.
For sure. I mean, we have Zach Brooks,
right,
Juwan Thompson, Bernard Pierce. All those guys are phenomenal. I think, yeah, I see your point as in like Jamal Charles is a big name. He's a big face. He's been in the league forever. Has put up, for sure, is a Hall of Fame running back. There's no doubt about that. He has phenomenal numbers in his career. I think potentially he did what he was supposed to do. He brought a lot of light to the Broncos, all that stuff, and potentially, yeah, maybe he is. It's good just to have him around for these new kids who are coming in, like D'Angelo, to have somebody to talk to and really see, like, hey, this is what I did. This is how I got to where I was.
Right.
This is what you can do. So yeah, maybe they do keep him around for that. He didn't cost very much, so it's not a huge deal. But yeah, I mean, I don't see him playing a ton. I mean, the guy's had 2 knee surgeries. Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if he actually played.
It's a good question. It merits the thought.
Yeah. Okay, now on to the serious question.
All right, the meat of the episode. All right. Okay, so let me go back to Gunner's question, and Gunner will answer the question in the mix of us talking about all of this. Gunner's question is, okay, here's what we all need to know. What do you guys want? Who do you guys want to start at QB? Also, thank you for continuing to crush it over the summer. Clearly, we are crushing it over the summer if we hit 10,000 episodes or 10,000 downloads. So thank you, Gunner. Thank you for listening. So, Sean, stake your claim.
Stake my claim.
What camp are you in on this?
Man, I'm still leaning towards Trevor Siemian. I think that was pretty clear. I don't think I've ever had any qualms or held back on it. And I think from what we heard from your extra point, that you're kind of in that Lynch camp.
I am. I'm absolutely in that Lynch camp.
Yeah. Interesting thing is we also had a poll on Twitter that we put out today that just said, who do you think is going to be QB1 for coming season with the Broncos? And it was dead even. It was a 50-50 between Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian.
Yeah. And it wasn't just me and Sean who voted. There's a dozen or more guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Sean, okay. So you and I both want the same thing. We want a winning Broncos team, right?
Right.
Does it matter to you who's at the helm so long as we're winning?
No. Yeah, I mean, if we're winning, then I don't care.
We got to lay that out first.
Right.
And I think I honestly don't know. Looking at how our season went last year, 9-7, I don't know if Trevor Siemian is our guy. I honestly don't know if Paxton Lynch is our guy either. But I do know that they spent all this. I don't want to say money, but they spent all the draft capital on getting Paxton Lynch, and I would like to take the car for a test drive, and I'm even willing to say this, Sean. Let's spend a season with Paxton Lynch.
Dude, I feel like that's like completely counterintuitive what you just said to start the whole thing out. He said, you don't care who it is as long as we win, but let's try this out and see if Trevor Siemian's better, then let's just go with Trevor Siemian. And every fact up to this point shows that Trevor Siemian's better than him. I know Mike Kliss came out with his fucking tweet or whatever that he's flipped a switch and he's playing great on the last week of minicamp, but yeah, man, I just don't get it. I don't see it. I get everybody's just trying to make content to put out in the world about the Broncos, but I think a guy who's been here as long as he had opportunities last season that he didn't do great at all while Siemian was hurt. I just haven't seen anything from him, man. And if he's not getting it up until this point still, I don't know.
He is, though.
He got it one day.
When you have reporters saying that he does have it.
One reporter on the slowest week of the Broncos year.
No. Listen, guys like Cecil Lammey, who are the nerds of the media, I trust those guys.
Yeah, but they all just reported it off of Mike Kliss. Nobody else said it originally. They all quoted Mike Kliss.
Cecil Lammey has been there from the beginning, from the draft.
He's been there, but his whole report was based off of Mike Kliss.
Not at all. He was
Oh,
there. What are you talking about? All those guys were there. They're
I
all
don't know,
making their
man.
own judgments. That's why it's like one guy says Simeon, one guy says Lynch. They're literally they're in the same position our poll is.
Right? Yeah. I mean, okay, I get it. We spent money on him. I think he does potentially have maybe some potential, but I think to say like, yeah, nope, it's definitive. Let's have him play because he played well at the last week of like pre-training camp, even to say that like he's ready to go. Let's bench Trevor Siemian, who did fine, man. Who had his numbers were just as good as Carr's numbers were. Um, out of a whole host. I mean, he was at best he was mid range in throughout the entire NFL with a fucking terrible offensive line, and still pulled out the numbers that he had. And so I don't know, man. I just don't get it. I don't get why people are so quick to write him off because they think that like potentially in a super long shot, Paxton Lynch might produce something different.
All right, let's go back to the schedule real quick.
Yeah.
First game is Monday night game. It's the Chargers at we're going to call it Mile High because it's not anything but Mile High. Got the Chargers at Mile High. They got the Cowboys at Mile High. We're in Buffalo. It's not cold yet in Buffalo in September, or it shouldn't be. I don't know about global warming and whatnot. We have Oakland. For the last time, the Oakland Raiders will play at Mile High. Then we have a bye, and then we have the New York Giants. The only reason why I stopped there is because then we're at somewhere, and then we're home with New England. So let's just take the first 5 games. Chargers, Cowboys, at Buffalo, Raiders, Giants. With Trevor Siemian, what's our record?
For
those 5 games. Chargers, Cowboys, at Buffalo, Raiders, Giants. So 4 of those games are at home.
Right. I would say 3-4. I would say 3-1.
You mean 4-1?
Yeah, sorry, you said 5, right?
Yeah, 5 games, yeah. Well, okay, what game do we lose?
Maybe the at home. Yeah, I don't know, man. I have to look at these numbers a little bit closer.
So I'm looking at it, and I see about 4-1, and I think we lose to the Cowboys at home.
Okay.
Could possibly be 3-2. We lose to the Giants as well at home, but I think that's doubtful.
Fair enough.
I think the Giants game we can lean on the defense.
Okay.
Raiders game, I think we win because it's a home Raiders game with a decent Raiders team. I think everyone steps up for that. Chargers game, it's a Monday night game. I think we win that. Buffalo is in Buffalo. I don't think Buffalo has a quarterback yet, do they? I don't know. No one knows. I don't see any difference in the win-loss category when I think about Paxton Lynch, the difference between Paxton Lynch and Trevor Siemian.
It's insane, though, dude. That you're totally making a guess. At best, a guess.
Because I have no idea what this guy can do.
Yeah, but he could be terrible. Like everybody. Is it worth losing the first 5 games to find that out?
There's no way in hell we'd lose 5 games.
Okay, so say we end up the first 5 games, we end up, I don't know, 3-2, or even 2-3. Say he wins 2, but he loses 3, and whereas with Siemian we win 4 out of the 5.
So then at that point you have the option of putting Siemian in.
And you think that's fine though? Because last year we missed the playoffs by we counted it down by 1 game.
Right. Okay.
So this potentially these first 5 games could change all of that.
Looking at the AFC, do we get far in the playoffs this year?
I think so. I think potentially we could. I think
it's going to be real tough.
It's going to be tough for sure. And last year was tough. the fact of the matter is we're going into this season with a whole lot of unknowns. I mean, it's a whole new team, top to bottom, minus maybe our defense is the only potential thing that we actually know is going to be solid. But the rest of it, we have no idea, man. And so to say, for me, it just seems too risky with so many unknowns to pick another unknown instead of going with something you already know really well, tried and true, tested, and is not bad. Like, I don't get why people are so quick to jump down his throat.
I don't think he's bad. Don't give me that. I didn't say he was bad. I just want to know what Paxton Lynch has.
Right. And I think he had his opportunities last year, and he showed us that he did very poorly. And he did in practices, he did very poorly. And for the fact that everybody's saying the last 2 weeks he flipped a switch means that switch hasn't been on for a fucking year and a half. And so I don't get why, like, because somebody had a good week. I mean, even I just read this the other day. So NFL.com said, oh no, so Mile High Report, like their article was Paxton Lynch making push for starting QB job. And then like the next day, they put up the same article that said, but don't count out Trevor Siemian yet. Like it was just, I feel like it's just.
All right, if you want to talk stats, here are some stats.
Okay.
2016 Siemian QB rating was 84.6. 18 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So let's round up and say he had 20 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Okay? So 2 for 1, essentially. Every 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Okay? Paxton Lynch had a 79, so just a few points behind, and he had a 2-to-1 ratio of touchdowns to interceptions. I think this is much closer than you think.
I don't think they're far off from each other, but I think the unknown of Paxton Lynch and the flat out just like, okay, so we know more. We've seen Paxton Lynch fail more than we've seen him succeed.
Just as much as Trevor Siemian has.
No, Trevor Siemian's produced a lot more, and we've seen him produce a lot more, be it practices, preseason games, training camps. He has consistently been the same, whereas Paxton Lynch has consistently been bad up until the last 2 weeks.
You can't say that he's been bad.
Not bad,
if they both hover around the same QBR, it's a coin flip to me.
I just don't get it, man.
These guys are saying, "Oh yeah, things are clicking for him," I think he's our starter. That's why I'm in the camp of Paxton Lynch. Elway drafted him. It's so clear that we have to try him out. He will start, and if he's not the guy, Siemian will play for the season. I don't think that we'll get very far in the playoffs if we're switching horses midstream. I can tell you that much.
Right.
And if that's the case, then I would say expect a drafted quarterback in the 2018 draft.
Yeah.
Because this will define these two guys' careers. Or who knows, maybe it'll get so shitty that we put in Chad Kelly and then he's our 2018 quarterback.
Sure. I don't know, man. I feel like we spent so much time watching the Broncos last year that if honestly they fixed their offensive line, I think potentially I still think potentially Siemian could do a much better job than Paxton Lynch.
I don't disagree. I think if there's a chance, then there's a chance.
Right. And I don't buy into the like, oh, we spent money on him. Oh, that we've put all these hopes and dreams into him. Let's at least try it. Like I think if you haven't produced up until again, you haven't produced enough to get that opportunity up until 2 weeks ago. And I honestly feel like maybe he was playing great, that it was just like it was a clickbait title is all people were searching for because it's a slow part of the NFL season.
I'm not saying that it's not.
Right.
I'm just saying that I agree, Sean. I don't want it to be, let's just use him for the sake of using him. I think it's more about John Elway's ego might dictate to Vance Joseph that he has to play Paxton Lynch.
Right.
And I mean, training camp is training camp, mini camps are mini camps. It's not the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
So I think John Elway desperately wants to see what he has under the hood. And
that's another thing I think, man. Like, because he was given opportunities last season that he didn't produce that well in. He did okay for sure, but he didn't do that great. And I feel like if last season he wasn't given more opportunities, there's a reason. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't disagree
because I don't think in trying everything else new, Elway waits until this point to finally like, all right, that's it. We're putting Lynch in. We're trying him out. He's already been there. He's done that. He's tried it. He's keeping Lynch around because he might need him.
I don't think that's true because the whole conversation wouldn't exist if it weren't that he didn't get enough playing time. If he had more playing time, I don't think that we would be having this conversation. We would say, oh, yeah, it's Trevor Siemian.
Right.
But I don't think that he had enough.
Right, but there's a reason why he didn't have enough.
I agree. But again, this is a totally different regime in charge now.
Yeah. But it's still all led by Elway.
Right.
Elway's already seen it, and he's already moved on.
I totally disagree.
Or he, at least at the time, didn't feel like he was ready, which says a lot to me.
I think we need to make a bet.
Yeah? On who's going to start?
Yeah.
What's the bet?
Let's just do a beer, because I'm too poor to do anything else.
All right. Fair enough.
Real quick, Siemian played 14 games. Paxton Lynch played 3. I know that adds up to 17, but Siemian got hurt, his shoulder. So their completion percentage is the exact same, 59%. It's eerie how close these guys are to each other in terms of stats.
Yeah. Yeah, they're close for sure, man. I'm not saying he's a terrible quarterback, and I think he can't do it. I just think I have a lot more faith in Trevor Siemian.
And I can totally see why you do.
And I get it. I get the urge and the want to like put the money on the line and see if there's anything there. But it's just such a scary opportunity that like last year we know for a fact that we were one maybe 2 games outside of being in the playoffs. And for that to happen again and then to waste that opportunity on just trying Paxton Lynch because potentially there's something there. I don't know.
All right.
But as we pointed out,
a beer of my choosing.
everybody's on the fence about this.
Right.
Literally, like every news outlet put out an article that day that said he's turned the corner. He's making his push, and then literally the next day everybody said, "But don't count out Siemian." And so they're all hedging their bets because nobody knows at this point.
Right.
And always this time of year, the Broncos are super tight-lipped about everything. They just don't talk to anybody about anything because there's nothing to talk about yet. But I'm definitely willing to make a beer bet.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this thing up.
We're done.
I can't argue like Micah can.
This show's over. Just kidding. We want to thank you guys again, Gun. We really appreciate it. We actually have a lot of stuff that we talked about at the beginning that we want to do this season. We're going to try for sure in the regular season to do something kind of special every week. A lot of live broadcasts and a lot of on-location stuff. So yeah, we're really looking forward to that. We also mentioned earlier on that we're trying to beef up our website. If you guys haven't been there yet, it's just crushreport.co. Eric wrote a blog post on there We're gonna start trying to write a blog post, at least one a week from one of us. We definitely want to have more guests on here. We're gonna put all the videos and stuff you could find on the website also. So if you ever miss anything, it's like a great archive of everything. Yeah, man, we're really looking forward to it, and we have a lot of high hopes for it. We're also going to sell some stuff on there, like our stickers that we've given out in the past. Just like little stuff to help the show grow and get new equipment that we could do more of this stuff on location. So definitely check that out. Keep an eye open for it. If you want to reach out to us on Twitter, that's always the best way. We're always looking for good comments or questions. You can reach us at Crush Report. You can reach myself at Sean H. Porter. You can reach Eric at
Eric Jimenez.
And like always, if you could like us and subscribe to us and give us a review on Twitter, or sorry, on iTunes or Google Play Music, that would help a great deal. Helps people find the show. Like we said, numbers have been growing a lot lately, and we really appreciate it. Thank you for all the new listeners that are coming out. We love you guys, and go Broncos, and long live Trevor Siemian.
Go Broncos.